Hey guys, what's up? It's me, Paige, here once again with another video for you guys, and this video is actually going to be on the Season 1 finale of The Flash. So if you do go on to enjoy this video, make sure to leave a like and leave any comments on what you thought of the Season 1 finale, and yeah. And also if you're new, make sure to subscribe, as it's always good to get more people joining the channel. So anyway, the episode basically started straight after the last episode where the Reverse Flash was eventually caught by Barry Allen. Now essentially we get the Reverse Flash giving Barry a bit of an ultimatum, or a bit of a choice, or a chance I guess you could say, to save his mother's life. But in return, Barry would also have to allow Eobard Thawne to return to his own time in the future. So it gives Barry a bit of a thing to weigh, a bit of a choice to weigh up, should he or should he not. So he consults with the people around him, like obviously Joe, Iris, or the people involved with Star Labs. Basically say it's a pretty good idea, but there is obviously the ramifications that they will most likely not exist in his life if he does go back and save his mother's life. There's actually one person around him that thinks it's not a good idea, and that's actually his father, who is in jail. So he'd actually be the person to most benefit from this, except for his dead mother, as he would not be in jail anymore. He'd actually be a free man and actually get to be there while Barry grows up. Now, to get back to the past as well as send Thawne to the future, the particle accelerator is involved, which involves Barry getting to a very, very high speed and also sending a thing of hydrogen, I can't remember what they called it, into him so they can collide and essentially create this wormhole which allows both Eobard and Barry to get to their certain time points. Now, throughout this episode, there's also some cool things with the Reverse Flash. He also tells Cisco in this episode about his powers, which obviously relates to Cisco's superhero alias, I guess you could say, which is Vibe, and they actually do mention vibrations and stuff like that. And apparently these superpowers are the reason that Cisco is actually able to see in that parallel timeline of himself dying, thanks to the Reverse Flash. You think, oh yeah, he's the ancestor of Eobard Thawne, but that won't have anything to do with the Flash until like season 2 or 3. But he actually plays a pretty big part in this episode. Now, Eddy is actually lectured by Dr. Stein about coincidences. And coincidences seem to be a big part of this episode. It also leads him to reconciling with Iris for what happens actually at the end of this episode. Now, there's also bits to fill in this episode, because I don't think obviously if you watch the end of the episode, they're obviously leading that to season 2. So they need some stuff to fill in the episode. So we got Caitlin and Ronnie's wedding, which was pretty interesting. It only went for a couple of minutes, like maybe 2 minutes or something, but it was also pretty cool to see them two wrapping up what was at the beginning of season 1, I guess you could say, where they were essentially planning their wedding and their honeymoon, and then the whole particle accelerator thing happened and their lives went a bit astray, I guess you could say. Now, the coolest sequence in this episode would have to be when the Flash was time traveling. Now, throughout the time travel, we did see some parts of different alternate timelines and also the future. Now, we did get to see Caitlin as Killer Frost, which I thought was pretty damn cool, and a lot of people thought that this might be happening. It also would have been cool to see Vibe, or Cisco as Vibe there, wearing like some cool sunglasses or some cool goggles or something like that, maybe making stuff shake. But we might get to see that in season 2 in the actual show. We got to see the Flash Museum, which is awesome to see. Or when I saw the Flash Museum, I was like, no way. And we also saw Barry in prison, which was a bit interesting. And we also saw the scene from the Legends of Tomorrow trailer where that big foot comes through the ceiling. Now, it's actually really interesting when Barry gets back to the point in time where his mother did die, because the future Barry tells him just to stay there and let his mother die. Now, this is very interesting, but I'm assuming it'll come up later in the series, and this will be explained. I'm assuming that there might be an episode, it might be in season 3, it might be in season 4, where the future Barry Allen actually does come back, interact with the past Barry Allen, and possibly explain some things. Now, that scene with his mum was pretty emotional, gotta say. It was a bit of an emotional scene, but it was always good to see, because it really can't affect the future, because his mum was always going to die, so he's allowed to reveal himself. It would have been different if his dad was awake then, but obviously his dad was knocked unconscious. Now, back in the present time, Eobard Thawne, or the Reverse Flash, or Harrison Wells, whatever you want to call him, does get that cool time machine, or the time sphere, I think that's what Cisco was calling it, and he does name drop Rip Hunter. But we've already seen the trailer, so we already knew Rip Hunter was involved, but it was really cool that they know each other. So that could actually come up in Legends of Tomorrow, Rip Hunter mentioning Harrison Wells, or not Harrison Wells, but Eobard Thawne. Now, one little cool Easter egg and one really, really cool moment was when Jay Garrick, aka the Golden Age Flash's helmet, popped out of the time hole, or the wormhole, might I say, and the Reverse Flash says, "That's my cue to go." Now, this is pretty cool just to see that helmet, and it makes you think, will Jay Garrick even pop up in this in the Flash series? But we'll have to wait and see. So, due to the fact that Barry Allen did not actually save his mother, he comes back, destroys that time machine by punching a massive hole through the middle of it, and then it basically leads to obviously the Reverse Flash and the Flash having a bit of a fight, and the Reverse Flash is actually on the brink of killing the Flash. Now, I thought something was obviously going to happen here, because obviously not going to kill off the main character. What happened to stop the Reverse Flash from killing the Flash was very, very interesting. Now Eddy kills himself by shooting himself in the heart, which I did not expect. I did not expect this to happen, and it made a lot of sense with the whole Eddy coincidence thing going throughout the episode, that he would be the reason that Barry would be able to survive and it would stop all this mayhem from happening. So as Eddy is like Eobard Thawne's great-great-great-great-grandfather or something like that, if he ceased to exist, if he kills himself, then so does Eobard Thawne. Eobard Thawne is never born. So the whole Eobard Thawne being erased from history was pretty cool, and pretty decent graphics as well. Now following this, the wormhole closes, but then it actually reopens and the whole black hole thing starts to happen, which starts to destroy Central City. Now throughout this, we actually get to see some Legend of Tomorrow characters. We do get to see Captain Cold randomly doing something, don't know what he was doing, and the civilian form of Hawkgirl, I guess you could say. Now following this, we get Barry jumping into the black hole, and then it cuts off leading into season 2, and I cannot wait for season 2. It's going to be really interesting to see what happens. I'm assuming they will use the episode 1, maybe even episode 2 of The Flash to possibly introduce these characters of the Legends of Tomorrow. But once again, we'll have to see. We can't really speculate too much. But this was a decent season 1 finale. I don't think it went the way a lot of people thought it was going to go. A lot of people, including myself, I really thought they might do some sort of Flashpoint Paradox, which they did sort of tease. The whole seeing Caitlin as Killer Frost, but that could even be happening in future seasons, because we've heard that Cisco does technically have his powers. So maybe Caitlin does, and Caitlin has been acting a bit, a bit angry in the recent, probably the last half of the season, so she could be slowly developing her powers, and she could be Killer Frost in the next couple of seasons. But once again, we have to wait, or they could do Flashpoint Paradox later in the storyline. But once again, I've said a lot of time in this video, we'll have to wait and see. So anyway, leave your opinions in the comment section below. What did you think of the finale? I, for one, really liked it. I thought I'd probably give it like an 8, 8.5 out of 10. So if you did enjoy the video, make sure to leave a like, and if you're new around here and you enjoy this type of content, make sure to subscribe and make sure to follow me on Twitter. That link will be in the description below. And for everything Flash, Arrow, Legends of Tomorrow, anything like that, stay tuned, and I'll catch you guys later. Goodbye.